Hi, this is Megan Chapman, and tonight we're coming from around the corner of Studio G23, recording from the home, a special anniversary edition. Stuart is here with me. He'll be asking me the questions. We've got several questions from some friends of my art page, and we look forward to answering them and telling you a little bit about what's going on in the studio lately. So here we go. Hi, Stuart.
Hi, Megan. I just have questions from three people, Philip Dixon, Evelyn Scott and Pat Bremner. We'll start off with the first question, which is, where do you find or seek inspiration?
I pretty much am always looking for inspiration. I feel that inspiration is all around me. It's part of my past and present. It's part of the culture I take in. So whether it's a walk in the woods, or a film I've just seen, or a great song I've listened to, or an event from my childhood or young adulthood, everything is always able to be used as inspiration.
So, do you filter these events or keep note of them?
No, I don't usually write down certain things like, oh, I want to remember that, I want to create a painting from that, or anything that specific. I sort of bank them in my mind or my heart, I suppose, or perhaps in my soul. And I feel like I work off of a collective inspiration as well. Everything that's ever come before, I try to draw from.
It's almost like a kind of feeling, and it puts you into the right frame of mind, perhaps.
Yes, and it's usually music. And then again, as the older I get, the more I realize how important nature is, and just getting out and walking in nature. So, we just got back from a trip to Jupiter Artland this past weekend.
And Jupiter Artland is a country estate near Edinburgh that is full of large outdoor artworks.
Exactly. And it was very inspiring, the way those artists considered the space and considered the nature around them, and that got me thinking as well. So it's all those kind of things that help fill my inspirational well and help me create things. It's also articles that I read. I read about a lot of different artists, musicians, playwrights, theater people, writers. And just to see people living a creative and inspired life then kind of fuels my own inspiration and creativity.
You talked about the outdoors and how it affects work. Have you actually ever worked out of doors, or has it all been studio based?
That's a good question. I have actually painted or drawn outdoors a little bit. That's not really, I like to keep those two things sort of separate. Like we talked about in one of the previous podcasts, I like that sort of close everything down and get in the studio space and do the work there. Painting outdoors, I find very distracting.
So you kind of bank up the inspiration and take it into the studio with you.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, thinking back to when you were a lot younger, did you paint a lot as a child?
I didn't really paint a lot as a child. I was more, typical sort of childlike crayons and markers and colored pencils. But we also had that one type of paint. I can't remember the name of it that kids use a lot. It's kind of chalky tempera paint. Yeah, tempera paint. And I really enjoyed that. But I think, as a child, I was more the typical crayons and oil pastels. I remember I did use those, and I loved them a lot.
So it has been part of your life for as long as you can remember?
As long as I can remember.
But at what point did you decide that maybe this is actually your vocation, if you like, your calling?
I guess I decided sort of probably between the age of 21 and 27 that this was definitely something I wanted to do as a career, as a living. I was never 100% sold on it. I sometimes thought maybe it was the easy way out. It was something I was good at and it was something I could do. But, society tells us most of the time that we should be doing other things with our lives, and I almost took the bait and believed them. So it took me a while to come around to the fact that I was actually supposed to be an artist.
I've been distracted slightly, sorry. So, your early 20s is when you first kind of realised that art was what you wanted to do in your life. But at what point did actually selling art become a reality for you?
I don't know, probably also in my mid to late 20s, I think. When I was a student at the University of Oregon, I remember at the end of the school year selling off a lot of paintings at a yard sale before I moved back to Arkansas. And so that was a good feeling to make money selling my art, even though I was probably selling massive paintings off for like $50.
But you were selling when you were a student, so that's quite impressive, really, isn't it? It's not
Yeah.
every student that sells art when they're working.
No. It was fun, and then I think after I moved back to Arkansas and sold a couple of major paintings from a coffee shop and got a call that some paintings from a coffee shop had sold, I can actually remember the moment. I was up in my attic studio, and it was morning, and I could see the sunlight streaming through the window and onto the floor, and I'm pretty sure I closed my eyes and jumped up and down and thought, wow, this is it. I can really do this. And I was also still had some student loan debt from my art degree. So I thought, oh, yes, let's sell off these paintings. Let's pay off that student loan. And that's exactly what I did that summer.
So was that first painting sale, was that the point when you thought, I'm actually an artist now? Or did you already believe you were an artist?
I believed I was an artist, but to sell something for more than a few dollars was really amazing. That first time someone was willing to pluck down maybe $300, $400 for a painting, there was nothing like it. And I just remember thinking, wow, this is it. And this is great. And I want more of it.
And that's basically, that was really the first step in the path, wasn't it? That's the questions done for this week. I want to just quickly check in and see, how is the work going this week in the studio?
Well, this work's been a little slower in the studio. The 3 paintings that I was working on last week and changing, I think, again, they're getting closer. I went forward and worked on them some more. There's one more painting that has a little bit of work to do on it. And then besides that, I did come up with all the titles except for the last 3 to 6 pieces. So the majority of the work is named, the majority of the work is done. There's just one more piece that's kind of giving me a hard time. Then I've got the rest of the names to come up with, and then I will be releasing it to the world. Is that really all the questions?
That's the question of the week, yeah. So thanks for having me on your podcast again this week.
Yeah, thanks for asking me the question.
To you to say goodbye.
Yes, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, Philip Dixon. Thanks, Evelyn Scott. Thanks, Pat Bremner, for your questions. And everyone else who's asked us questions on this podcast. If you have a question for me, please leave it on my Facebook art page, and we will answer your questions and would love to get back to you. So thank you so much for your interest in my work, and have a great day and evening and week. Bye-bye.